This is the Lessons in Positivity videocast. Here's your host, Scott Peterson.
We're back with another Lessons in Positivity, and this week I spoke to one of the world's most positive and enthusiastic athletes you'll ever meet. His name is Josh Davis, and he was an Olympic gold medalist and world record holder in swimming for the USA. But one of the things that sticks out about him is he had such a positive effect on everyone around him that the Olympic team voted him to be co-captain. You can't help be inspired by his amazing and infectious attitude. We also talked to Troy Pronish, a high school swimmer from Pennsylvania who beat cancer, then went to work raising money to help beat this horrible disease. But first, buckle up for Mr. Positivity. Josh Davis is here on Lessons in Positivity. We're joined by Josh Davis, Olympic gold medalist in swimming in the Atlanta and Sydney Games, a world record holder, and one of the great faces for USA Swimming. Welcome, Josh, to the program.
Thanks, Scott. Great to be with you guys, and so excited to be a part of this program.
Well, thank you too. And so I want to start off real quick because I know that our younger viewers here would love to kind of know about the whole Olympic experience. Okay, so I'm going to I want to take you through step by step what I'd want to know if I was a kid. First of all, you were chosen to be a flag bearer for the Olympic flag. Tell us about that.
Well, it is quite exciting because, once you've made it up the ranks to nationals for a while, and then you try out for the Olympics, at the Olympic trials, you make the team, 25 guys, 25 girls. We're at the training camp. They elect a captain. I got elected captain on my second Olympics. So then there's actually a meeting in the Olympic Village of all the captains of all the teams, and then we all vote for the flag bearer. And so it was actually at the World University Games where I was in Japan, and all the captains of all the sports got together and they elected me the flag bearer. And it was one of the biggest highlights of my life, was to carry the flag. And we had I'd say about 500 athletes from Team USA as we marched into the stadium in Japan. And definitely one of the highlights of my life to represent our country, but also the top athletes in the country.
Yeah, and that connection with the other athletes from around the world in the Olympic Village.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about that and what that experience was like.
Yeah, you got 10,000 of the top athletes in the world. We're all in this little bitty city called the Olympic Village, and everything's free. Free food, free video games, free movie theaters. And we all love the cafeteria the best because we go and eat the food. And it's the best food from all over the world. And we like to visit with each other. And I know a little Spanish, so I can talk to some of the Spanish-speaking countries. And of course, I do well with English, so I talk to a lot of the English-speaking countries. And and we're close with the Australian swimmers, and thankfully so many countries speak English, so we're a little spoiled. And it's so cool because you can totally see which sport people do. You got the big tall people walking in, they're the basketball players. You got the little rhythmic gymnastics girls, you can totally tell them. And you've got the swimmers, the long lanky swimmers, you can totally tell what sport everybody is. And it's fascinating to be around these amazing athletes.
One ceremony you didn't miss, and you didn't miss it 3 times, is the gold medal award ceremony. And that has to be right up there with the great things. I heard you quoted one time as saying that you were singing as loud as you possibly could to the national anthem.
Yeah, you train your whole life, you make it to the Olympics. I was racing in Atlanta, Georgia, the home crowd. I led off the relay, the guys held the lead, we win the gold, we get up to the podium. They put this big gold medal on my neck. It's nice and heavy. And I thought, oh my gosh, and your life flashes before you. And I thought of all my coaches and my teachers and my parents and everybody who helped get me there. And I sang that anthem as loud and as proud as I could. And I watched that flag go up in the air, and I thought, oh, I love the colors. I love our freedom. I love the opportunity that we have where I had the opportunity to train and one day be the best in the world. Unbelievable. And so thankful for our freedoms, thankful for our country, and thankful that I got to do that and represent us. So it was definitely a life-defining moment, and one I'll never forget. And so Atlanta has great memories for me.
I want to talk about relays for a second because in the theme of this positivity, relays probably have a lot of different pressures. If one of your teammates has a bad leg of theirs or maybe you did, Talk about that pressure, because it's different if you're just swimming yourself. You kind of know it's about you, but if it's a relay team, it's much different, isn't it?
Yeah, it's this cool balance where there is more pressure, but there's also more comfort because you get this synergy, this strength of the four of you together. So it's this cool combination that where your sum is greater than the four parts, this synergy. And I just love it. And pretty much everybody goes faster on the relays because of that combination, that synergy. And so, yeah, they're depending on me and I'm depending on them, but we all come together. At that particular Olympics, I was a leadoff guy. So it was my job to get a nice lead. And the job of the next three guys is not to mess it up. But we all came together and had our lifetime best splits. And of course, thankfully, we won the gold medal. But it's more fun to share that with others. And it's what's interesting, Michael Phelps has 23 gold medals. My teammate Michael Phelps has 23 gold medals, and he gets most excited about his relay medals. And you can see it on the highlights, on the videos, how pumped he is to share those moments with his teammates. Yes, the pressure's higher, but the joy of sharing it is even better.
I want you to think back a little bit to when you were a kid, and I'm going to talk about, and you coach now, and we'll get into that also in a second, but I want to talk about the pressures a kid has relative to swimming, okay? So the first pressure would be this pressure to have a PR every time they go out and swim or in a meet. Talk a little bit about why that's not necessarily the best way to go.
Well, we start out in sport because it's fun. That's the key word, fun. Just like when you're kids at the schoolyard and you say, hey, I'll race you to the pole and back. And you didn't care who won. You just wanted to just do it. And so we get into sport with this sense of joy and excitement and anticipation. And then some of us start getting pretty good and the pressure gets on and the expectations build on. And you get this identity that this sport is your identity, and so you got to perform for all these people. You don't want to disappoint anybody, and you start to lose the joy. You lose the joy that brought you into the sport, and you feel like you got to win all the time or do this PR all the time. And that's not the healthy trajectory of a long, healthy career. A long, healthy career is like this. You're going up and down all the time. No one has a linear, shot right to the gold medal. In fact, most of the most successful people, they got huge valleys, huge learning points along their journey. So all the best have the valleys, and that's where they learn the most and get the strongest. So be encouraged, anybody out there, if you got some downs with the ups, it's totally normal.
How about the pressures they feel from either their parents or their coaches? How would you advise a young athlete relative to those? Because they're two very different kinds of pressures that they feel.
Yeah. So I think there's three parts to an athlete's career, kind of the triad: the athlete, the coach, and the parent. And so the athlete puts pressure on themselves because that's what we do. If you're a great athlete, you want it. You want yourself to get better. You want to push yourself and challenge yourself. And so we're pretty hard on ourselves as elite athletes. And then there's the coaches. The coaches give us that tough love. They challenge us. They push us. They get on us. That's what a good coach does. John Wooden, the greatest coach of all time, said a great coach makes you do the things you don't want to do to become the athlete you always wanted to be. So that's what a great coach does. They push you and challenge you and expect more out of you. But then there's the third party, the parents. Now, this is where you got to be really careful. If the parents push too much and control too much and live vicariously too much through those athletic experiences, it can make the whole thing crash. The parents' job is really to feed and cheer and have unconditional love. And that becomes the safety valve, the refuge, the place where the kid can get refueled and have a place to just be loved and accepted no matter what. And that gives them the perspective and the peace of mind to go back into the fight and keep that pressure on themselves and the coach's pressure and all that other stuff that comes with an elite athlete. So hopefully the athlete has the healthy pressure, the coach has the healthy pressure, and the parents have the healthy unconditional love and cheer. And that creates a healthy triad.
you transitioned yourself into being a coach, at Oklahoma Christian University, and talk about that transition and maybe what a lot of the things you just said, I'm sure you've integrated into your coaching style.
Definitely. I'm learning. I'm in my third year as a head college coach. I've been a consultant for 20 years, traveling the country, working with coaches and swimmers and athletes. So it's definitely been exciting to learn how to motivate different kinds of athletes. And, I think you could put coaching into two categories. There's kind of shame-based coaching and love-based coaching. It's like, I'm going to make you feel bad when you do bad so that you go work harder next time so you don't feel me getting onto you in a shame-based way. And it works. Sometimes it works. I mean, there's a lot of coaches have coached for decades, that shame-based coaching. Well, it doesn't last the longest, though. I think the most healthy and the longest lasting kind of coaching style is the love-based coaching. It's tough love a lot, but there's a lot of, just honesty, a lot of communication, a lot of, just back and forth, a healthy, communication between the coach and the athlete. I really care for you and respect you, and this is what I think is going to help you do your very, very best. And it's just a little easier, I think. And I think, some athletes want a coach yelling at them in a mean way to really help them. But I think for the most part, athletes want a coach who's genuinely excited, genuinely positive, genuinely creative, and really wants the best for them. So I try and do that in my coaching.
We've had some of the athletes we've interviewed say that listen to the message, not the tone. And that's where a lot of athletes get kind of thrown off. They just think a coach doesn't like them.
Yeah, that's easy to misinterpret what a coach might be saying if you just listen to his tone, because we tend to get a little excited, and we really want the best for you, and sometimes it comes out kind of mean sometimes. But if you pay attention to the intention behind it and the words and the message, I think you'll understand that, the opposite of love isn't meanness, it's apathy. So if a coach, really didn't like you or was mean, they wouldn't talk to you. Mm-hmm. But if the coach is getting on you and getting emotional, that means they really care about you. And so you just have to learn to discern and have the, hold it in the best light, so to say, that they really want the best for you.
If I were a kid listening to this right now, I would be jumping out of my skin saying, how do I get to have Coach Davis coach me? And they might even have an opportunity, though, right? Talk to us a little bit about breakout swim clinics.
Yeah, so me and my Olympic friends, we've been going around the country for 23 years, where me and another Olympian, we come to your team, to your town, and we teach you everything we know in a 5-hour seminar called the Breakout Swim Clinic. And in this 5-hour seminar, we teach you everything we know about life and swimming. And it's very exciting. We go over all 4 strokes, starts, turns, motivation, nutrition. We race you and we eat together and talk together, and it's just an incredible day. So that's been one of the joys of my life, is we've been to over 1,000 cities in the last 23 years. And me and my Olympic friends, we just love coming to you guys. So if you want us, just go to breakoutswimclinic.com and we'll come right to your town. And once you get out of high school, if you want to come swim in college with me here in Oklahoma at Oklahoma Christian University, just come on over. So we have a good time here every day in Oklahoma too.
We have something what we call the new ROI here, and it's called return on inspiration. And where it's always kind of this investment, but the investment is in inspiring people. And certainly it's something that you are doing, and something that Troy did too, that other people can realize that, hey, when you have a circumstance like this, when you have something hit you out of the blue, and it doesn't have to be cancer, it can just be little different things. I'm sure for the swimmers, like you were talking about, it's COVID-19. Yeah. So what is your advice to people who get hit by those type of things, and how do you turn that back and choose to inspire people?
Well, I think you look at things in a realistic way, and the truth is we have downtimes, in this Corona break where we're stuck at home. Most of the time I'm grateful for my health. I'm grateful to spend time with my family. I know that better times are ahead, but then a couple times a day I get really down, and it's okay to admit that. It's okay to say that yeah, this is real. I'm being real with my feelings, but we also got to be real with the fact that things are going to get better, and that so much in life is just taking one step forward, just little baby steps towards a goal, little baby steps towards a better attitude, and that's what perseverance is. You just get back up and take a little bitty step. And so all of us can do that. The human spirit is very strong. I mean, look at all of what the world and humanity and America has conquered these last several hundreds of years, overcoming world wars and, all kinds of diseases and, everything. We're going to get through this fine. But there is strength in numbers. It is good that we stick together. It is good that we encourage each other. And so there is power in speaking life into each other and encouraging each other. But we also, for me, my faith is a big encourager to me. And so when I read my Bible, when I listen to good stuff to renew my mind, it's like, yes, I can do this. We're going to be just fine. And I want to share that with others. So stay real, stay positive, persevere, just one little baby step at a time, and things will work out.
Great words from Josh Davis. Josh, thank you so much for spending time with us and all the encouragement that you're giving to the kids through this. We just love who you are, and we hope everybody will go check out Breakout Swim Clinics and hopefully get a chance to meet you in person and some of the other swimmers that you have involved.
Yeah, they can find out a lot at our new podcast, Ultimate Swimmer, whatever platform they listen to. Just type in Ultimate Swimmer, and we have inspiring stories from many other Olympians, and really appreciate what you do, Scott, and can't wait to read about more positive athletes out there doing great things and making great decisions to stay positive.
Thank you, Josh. Each week we feature a different athlete from our book, The Positive Athlete, 100 Inspirational Stories of High School Student Athletes. You can check out and purchase the book on our website, positiveathlete.org. This week we featured Troy Pronish, who's on page 216 of the book. Troy talks about beating cancer and then how he went about raising money to fight this disease himself. It's up next on Lessons in Positivity. We're here with Troy Pronish from Pittsburgh, a multi-sport high school athlete. We're going to concentrate today on swimming. But Troy, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me on.
Troy, you were given those three little words nobody wants to hear, much less a young athlete. You have cancer. What were your immediate thoughts when they told you that?
It felt like it didn't actually happen. It felt like I was in a dream. Like when I was sitting in that doctor's office and he said it, it just didn't dawn on me that it actually was happening.
I want to concentrate a little bit more on and focus on a little bit after cancer, okay? Because you have such an interesting story, and where I want to start is, and by the way, if you want to read Troy's story, it's on page 216 in the Positive Athlete book. Troy, so you were able to go on a trip courtesy of Make-A-Wish. Talk about that trip to Hawaii.
It's always been a dream to me to visit Hawaii. I've always thought it looked so beautiful out there. I just wanted to go out there. And Make-A-Wish gave me the chance to go out there. And I felt so when Make-A-Wish gives you a trip, it's so nice because it just takes your mind off what's going on in your life at the time. So it's a nice break.
And you were able to take your whole family?
I took, not my whole family. I took my mom, my dad, and my older brother, John.
After you took that trip, you became very aware of what Make-A-Wish does. Talk a little bit about Make-A-Wish and why it means so much to you, and you may even tell some of our viewers what Make-A-Wish is.
Make-A-Wish is a nonprofit organization that helps kids with life-threatening illnesses to go on a trip. They can have a shopping spree. You can do multiple things, but when they granted me that wish, I felt like I needed to give back to them. So I had a golf tournament called Tee Off with Troy to raise money for Make-A-Wish.
That's an interesting part of that story is that, as you write in the book, you were talking about going to the Positive Athlete Awards, and you were sitting there and an idea popped into your head, and that was that. But talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, when I was sitting there, I was hearing all the other kids' stories about how they were like doing stuff for the community and all this, and I was sitting there thinking, all I did was survive cancer. Like, obviously that's a great accomplishment, but I just felt like I needed to do more.
Yeah, we have that a lot in kids who come to our events, and they hear these kids and their inspiring stories. And now all of us who just heard you say, all I did was survive cancer, I think all of us think that's a pretty amazing thing. But you took it a step further. So, how did a kid, have you ever thought that you could do something like that? I mean, just a young guy and put on a golf tournament.
It honestly never crossed my mind until Make-A-Wish gave me the opportunity to go to Hawaii. Because once that happened, then it sparked the idea that I can make a difference. I can do something else.
Do you think you would have done that if you hadn't had cancer? Do you think you would have found something like that? Is that just, or does something like that change your life where you feel like you need to give back?
I probably wouldn't have done it if I didn't have cancer. It was just like something you don't really think about that often. Like, a lot of people don't think about it. And once it happens, it's life-changing.
How did cancer change your life in terms, and what did it teach you about your love for swimming?
I actually missed my freshman year of swimming because of cancer, because I had my surgery in October and swim seasons during the winter. So I had my incision that whole time, so I couldn't swim my freshman year. And swimming I didn't start swimming until my sophomore year. Like, a lot of people went to like clubs and stuff. I've never actually done that. But swimming helps to just take your mind off stuff, because once you hit that water, it's like everything's gone. It's just, I'm in my own element when I hit the water.
When a kid gets those 3 words, you have cancer, what kind of advice would you give them the moment they hear that and to going forward? Because it was something you obviously had to do.
I would tell them that you just gotta stay calm, stay positive, and just continue through. It's gonna be tough to get through it, but you will.
How about kids taking on a challenge like putting on a golf tournament? What would you tell them now that you have this experience and you said, I don't know if I'd have done that before I got sick? What would you tell them now about taking on a challenge like that?
It's a very stressful thing to do, but once you get through all like the hard stuff, like trying to get sponsors, finding a place to do it and everything, it's like once the day came, it flew real nicely, quickly. You don't even realize like all the work that you put in that day.
Well, Troy, thanks so much for spending some time with us today. Again, you can read Troy's story on page 216 of the Positive Athlete book. Well, that's it for this week's episode. We hope you enjoyed these conversations with Josh Davis and Troy Pronish. You can't help but be inspired by their amazing positivity. If you'd like to read the story of Troy Pronish and 99 other high school positive athletes with inspirational stories, ask your mom and dad for our book, The Positive Athlete. You can find out more about our book on the website, positiveathlete.org. We'll see you here next time on Lessons in Positivity.